Yes, fear, stress, but no hesitation.
Christine Brown's new husband David literally called Kody out during his vows, and what he had to say was pretty unexpected. I mean, I don't think anyone expected either of them to literally bring up Kody during their vows, but David had no problem doing exactly that. According to People magazine, he talked in his vows about how he first saw Christine on a dating website and immediately knew she was the one, but that wasn't all he had to say, because allegedly he said, "I'm very happy that someone let her go because she's a unicorn." Now, obviously, that was a huge dig at Kody because Kody was the one who let her go, even though a lot of people have brought up the argument that Kody never would have let Christine go because she was the one who left him.
I don't want you to stay in my room anymore. She's like, my room is a special place to me and nothing special happens there for us.
And even though David choosing to call out Kody in his vows was completely out of nowhere, it somehow wasn't even the craziest thing that happened at this wedding, because we need to talk about the guest list. It's kind of crazy who Christine chose to invite and not to invite. Now, I don't think it's exactly surprising that Christine didn't invite Robin or her kids, but it is surprising that there were the literal only kids not there. As far as we know, Christine invited everyone's kids except for Robin's, including Mary's child Leon, but she didn't invite Mary, or maybe Mary just didn't go. But it seems much more likely that Mary was not invited, because Christine and Mary have never really gotten along, especially when Mary seemed to take Kody's side in the divorce, even though Kody wanted nothing to do with her or Christine. And Mary was posting on social media on the day of Christine's wedding, and it didn't seem like she had any major plans that kept her from being there. She was just hanging out with some friends, so most likely she just was not invited. But Janelle and the original 13 children were, so essentially Mary was the only member of the original Brown family who was not invited, except for Kody, of course. But that goes without saying. That being said, there is one member of the family who was not pictured, and I think we all can pretty much assume that Gwendolyn was at her mom's wedding, but she was the only one of the original 13 kids who wasn't in the picture with Christine's family. So it's extremely possible that she just didn't want to be in a picture with her brother Peyton, maybe, because she's made it very clear over the years that she does not get along with him at all and will never be on good terms with him. So it's definitely possible that she just refused to go because Peyton was going. But it also seems strange that she would miss her biological mother's wedding just to avoid Peyton. It was like a 300+ person wedding. It'd definitely be easy to avoid the guy, and pretty dramatic of her not to go to her mom's wedding just to avoid her brother. And it's not like that they haven't gone to the same wedding since their feud started, which is honestly one of the most interesting parts of Christine's entire wedding. Over the years, many of Christine, Janelle, and Mary's kids have gotten married, but there are always some members of the family missing, either because they're fighting with each other or because they live far away and couldn't travel. And this is the literal first time in years that all of Christine, Janelle, and Mary's kids were all in one place. As far as we know, this is most likely the first time since the kids became adults that they've all been in one place at the same time. And Kody was not even there. I mean, you just have to laugh at the irony. And if anything, it just goes to show just how much more important to the family that Christine is, much more than Kody. I mean, the only person who could unite all the kids is apparently Christine, and you just know that that has to enrage Kody because he blames her for tearing up the family. But now they're all reunited to celebrate Christine finding love with a man who actually cares about her, except for Kody, Robin, her kids, and Mary. And it's everything Kody did not want to happen.
But I'm still angry.
And really everything Christine ever wanted. So the irony of it all is just way too funny. And Christine hated her original wedding to Kody. No one could be there because she was a third wife and it had to all be done in secret. Not even her mom could go because they were worried that her mom would call the cops on them, since she had just left polygamy herself, and she hated her dress. And she and Kody both admitted that he was absolutely absolutely miserable at their wedding and realized that he was making a mistake the second he saw Christine walking down the aisle. And yes, he told her this years before she left him. So you can only imagine just how happy this day had to be for her. It was everything she wanted and more and didn't get from her first wedding and first marriage. And it took place out in the open with the beautiful scenery of Utah, not in a dark, secretive basement with everyone she loves in one place, wearing a dress that she loves. And if anyone deserves this, it really is Christine, especially a man who loves her like it seems David does, and who's able to make a joy about just how terrible Kody was to her. So for the first time ever, Christine is a legal wife, and he seems to be much more deserving of Christine's love than Kody ever was, even though I will say it was a very fast relationship, and I don't think any of us expected Christine to get remarried so fast. So considering that a year ago she was talking about just how much she wasn't ready to date yet, let alone get married, you can't help but be happy for her and David. They both had insane journeys to find each other, and they seem to be a really good fit. He seems to match her silly, kind of goofy personality, and they both just seem so happy and in love. And if you don't know, David's story is actually really sad. So he was married before to a woman named Margaret, and they had 8 children, which means that including Christine's 13 children, because she considers Janelle and Mary's kids hers too, they now have a collective 21 children. And David and Margaret were married for 22 years until one day in June of 2012 when she decided to go to a hotel and end her own life. And their youngest child was only 6 years old at the time, making David an instant single dad. And for the last 11 years, he's been raising his kids alone and looking for love, but just not finding it until he finally met Christine. And now, according to the note Margaret left, David was not a great husband to her, so it's unclear if these were just claims that she made when she was struggling, because there are many reports of her not being in a very good mental state before choosing to take her own life. And in the note she wrote, "You took everything and anything good in me and broke it with your controlling, manipulative ways. Please be a better father than you ever could be as a husband." Hopefully that is not true, since Christine just married him, and we've never seen anything that could lead us to believe that's how he is as a husband. He seems to be a fairly happy-go-lucky guy who was faced with an extremely tragic situation 10 plus years ago. But now he's found love and happiness again with Christine, and they seem to have built a beautiful life together in a pretty short amount of time. In just the last year they've been together, they built a home together, they've blended their families, they've traveled all over the literal world, and yes, they managed to do all of this in just the last year. We haven't even been introduced to him yet on Sister Wives, but it's probably only a matter of time. But either way, guys, I mean, what do you think of Christine and David's wedding? Did you think it was way too soon? I mean, were you expecting them to wait longer? And were you shocked that he actually called out Kody in his vows, even if he didn't exactly name him? And were you shocked by who got invited and who did not? More than anything, were you surprised that literally all of the original 13 children reunited to celebrate Christine? It's pretty amazing to think about, but I want to hear all of your guys' thoughts about the wedding and David and Christine. And I have to say, I'm shocked Leon was there, but Mary was not, and it appears that Mary was doing absolutely nothing that day. So it just kind of makes you wonder, why was Leon invited, but Mary either wasn't invited or chose not to go? And if Mary was not invited, why? And if Mary chose not to go, why? And that's very shocking, and I'm pretty shocked by how fast they moved. He may be a traditional kind of man, but it is just very shocking. Either way, guys, put in the comments below what you guys think.